that's exactly how those defendants are going to be federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently, by the way, I just want to capture because this is capturing the essence of mental illness by demons that are stalking in this obsessive manner. P.O.C. Alright, up here above.
This is what is inspiring the U.S. military to begin stalking by helicopter. This is criminal monitoring, federal stalking under Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. The entity's flying over the top of my head, very targeted. They're flying over the top of my head over the library where I'm over here reviewing the evidence that is preparing to be published regarding that department and that entity, the people of the state, who are engaging in surveillance right over here, a lurker, a vagina monitor, stalking, doing so in furtherance of murder, serial stalking. You're going to go from sleeping outside to sleeping in federal prison, engaging what is a battery also. Don't forget about hitting on me at the church, the Methodist church, while he's stalking with the police. This is federal prison. The entity's monitoring on my device, stalking conspicuously, doing so at the facility of the Ontario Senior Center, John Stewart Company, the senior citizens that are gang stalking, that are not disturbed, not complaining about the military hovering over the venue, the senior citizen complex, where they are in violation of literally the right to quiet enjoyment. That's because they are demons gang stalking while the entity has helicopter and plane activity where there's no airports taking off. With that level of frequency that I'm showing you, the pictures that I'm taking, just like they were doing at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, they're doing over the Senior Center, this is going to be defunded. This is a venue of terrorism. The Ontario City Hall is a venue of terrorism, is going to be defunded. The entity's gang stalking with the John Stewart, the John Stewart Senior Citizen Company, and as I publish evidence about demons gang stalking with minors, they replicate what it is that they're monitoring online. This is the entity that is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is good for you to understand how Satan operates. Okay, that's the POC. The entity is engaging in this. What do you think is happening while the police are flying by helicopter, and you think that it's smart to go by with your stroller? This is informing you about the mentally ill. These are the demons that are exposing themselves. These are the demons that are going to be in courtrooms crying about, please don't take my kids, please don't deport me out of the country, please don't rule me to be unfit, please don't commit me to this institution, please don't put me in prison, please don't cease to give me government assistance, etc. This is the entity that's engaging in that. The entity is engaging in this while they are monitoring on the venue of the internet. This is called stalking with light. This is the same venue where the entity is keeping the fake sun rising and setting over me. These are stalkers tracking my steps, both on foot, in strollers, where the entity is maintaining psychopathic pacing. This is the U.S. military, and this is Mike LORENZ, who was going to prison. That's what this evidence is revealing. That's what this evidence is relevant to. The Ontario Police Department gang stalking me, and Ontario Police Department helicopters, the U.S. military using its own helicopters, using military aircrafts, using the commercial airline companies to stalk right here. The elderly are going without. This is speaking to, they're already prosecuted. They're monitoring. And this doesn't stop the evidence from going on the internet. These are desperate acts. And this desperation is a threat to national security. And while they engage in that, they're going to be committed. Okay, Mike LORENZ is going to be subject to mental examinations. The homosexuals of the U.S. military as well, they're going to be involuntarily committed. They're also going to be prosecuted for treason. So are the people of the state. This is levying war. And you're going to be federally prosecuted for it. This is levying war. That's what they're doing inside of the library, by the way. Levying war, stalking you in the path, doing so on behalf of the government. They're going to federal prison for that. That's POC. And this is while they're keeping my evidence under surveillance, what it is that I'm doing on my device. Doing so, again, like I documented earlier, the entity's stalking by helicopter because they're scared about what it is that I'm publishing. And this is what I published today regarding what is April 14th. The entity's stalking me by helicopter the moment that I went to this playlist and began reviewing the evidence to publish it online. And so that would be this video right here that I was reviewing at 7:44 a.m. regarding the Fontana Police Department stalking me at Sierra Avenue and Foothill, where the fake sun is over me in the morning, and as I documented hours later at the same intersection where the people of the state, just like you see now, are stalking with the entity that is, again, another gang member. That's the Ontario Police, the gang members of the Fontana Police that share the pattern of conduct that's all over the internet. And I'm subject to terrorism in real time while they're engaging in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Speaking to surveillance that you are subject to, while I'm exposing the fact that as I'm subject to surveillance and I'm documenting it, the Ontario Police Department are being disbanded. Every kidnapper, like Jay Hernandez, gang stalking me at the El Superior grocery store, as I'm documenting at 4:33 in the evening, he's going to prison. That's what I'm documenting here. So while the entity is stalking me by helicopter, let me show you how this evidence is relevant, because he's going to federal prison. While the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and I'm publishing video about the Fontana Fontana Lewis Library gang stalking me under the fake sun.
It is 4:33 p.m. in specifically
I'll
that
show you.
there
This
is
is
no
the
point at
public
which
corruption.
I will ever.
This is public corruption. They're gang stalking at the Fontana Lewis Library with their minor children, just like you see this demon doing with his minor child under the fake sun. Fake sun is over me. This is at 4:33 p.m. And I'm reminding you, attaching the videos showing you how the San Bernardino County Fontana Lewis Library is gang stalking. And this is reminding you about what Jay Lewis is doing under the fake sun in Ontario, California, where this department is stalking me in Ontario by helicopter. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in the provision of that evidence, and the entity is engaging in this while they are monitoring what it is that I'm putting on the internet. That's never wise to engage in. The entity is engaging in this out of acts of desperation, and guess who's going to prison? Everybody that I already documented. And logic, sanity, those that are not demon possessed, those are not idiots, those that know how to cease to, in other words, refrain from criminal activity, they don't engage in more of it and actually think that that's going to stop a federal prosecution. The federal government is watching me lay down the law regarding how they are going to be prosecuted under federal law and laws that shall come into existence in order to prosecute terrorists like the city of Ontario, the people of the state, those that are engaging in this P.O.C. But I want you to see how the body of evidence surrounds them. The entity is gang stalking me at the Upland Public Library at 4:33 p.m., where I'm reminding you about what they're doing in Ontario. And the entity is gangsta. There's a chain of evidence, so I can go from video to video. The day prior, it was March 11th. So March 11th, and then the next day in Upland, California, March 12th. And the entity is keeping the fake sun over me, so I will show you that evidence. Hernandez is going to prison while the entity is stalking me today by helicopter as I'm publishing evidence on the video of the internet. This is P.O.C. This is the pattern of conduct that is serving to put
Here's
them away.
Ontario Police stalking at Superior. This is a psychopath monitoring my vagina the entire time. 1697634 with the Ontario Internet.
This is relevant to what's at the same time over me in Fontana, California. While I'm publishing this damning evidence, Hernandez, that's already on the record, is going to prison. This is how the evidence is showing an ongoing track record. And who is stalking me in concert with this department? The people of the state. In this department, while I'm online publishing the evidence, the people of the state, okay? They're going to prison. Mike LORENZ is going to prison. The people of the state that are gang stalking in this psychopathic manner, looking down, petting your dog, engaging, acting like you're hitting me accidentally, they're going to be involuntarily committed and they're going to federal prison. The entity is going to be deported. They're also losing custody of their demonic children that are gang stalking and furtherance of murder with that same department that you saw providing evidence regarding treason in the United States while they levy war, chaos, psychological torture practice against an American citizen. And they do that in concert with those outside of the United States. There will be no police department, no city council, no senior center. There will be no fire department. There will be no ambulances while they're sitting around monitoring my vagina. That's why they sound sirens, not because there's an emergency. The emergency is my evidence that's being published on the internet. The emergency is everything that I'm documenting. The emergency is that they are fully exposed and they're so psychotic, they keep doing it in front of the whole world. Because the entity has engaged in abusing these positions, there will be none of them. They're losing all of them. They're losing the funding for all of it. This will be a very real demonic ghetto. This is P.O.C. This is federal stalking Title 18 conduct. Stalking me in real time by helicopter as I'm on the venue of the internet where I'm under surveillance by them, the people, and the entity, on whose behalf the people of the state are stalking you as I'm showing you while they're gang stalking me. This is the entity that's been doing this all day long, stalking at the Stater Brothers in the morning, stalking in the grocery store, stalking at the fake church, stalking while I walk from that venue to this place where the entity is maintaining plane and helicopter activity. They're going to be literally defunding everything. You use it to engage in the pattern of conduct, you're losing it. Okay? This is P.O.C. It is currently 4:59 p.m.